Hey, hello, good evening, everyone. How have you been since the day started? How have you been? How was work today? How have you been? You can unmute yourself. Yeah, okay. I need to get a feedback and also confirm that you can hear me very well. Can you hear me? Please, I need a confirmation that you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Stella. Stella Chinosani. Thank you for joining us. Yes, so let's get right into it. We've given some time for others to join us. I believe that they will keep jumping in and we can't waste so much more of our time as much as our speakers' time. So those that are joining us on YouTube, I can see some people are there already and they're trickling in just now. So I'm thinking, is it now that most people are depending on replay, should we keep the recording or should we just what do you guys vote? Those that came early, even though nobody came early here now, but um should we vote to not save the recording so that they will have to they will miss the deal, right? What do you guys vote? Should we pity them and keep the recording or should we just save it to only ourselves that are present? No vote is a vote, you know that. So the vote is that we don't keep Okay. Hello. Was I muted all along? Oh, oh. Okay, so I'm going to rewind all the way and get over everything I said. So I'm just getting to know that nobody heard a word from me. That's not a problem. I'll do a quick run through for what I have shared with you. Firstly, my name is Frances Aborigo, the founder of ShEmerge International, a community of women, especially young moms who want to transition to tech or already thriving in tech. We are a community that exists to provide you with all the resources you need and information you need for your career growth in tech, for all giving you all the information you need for your career growth, informing you of the tech trends and job availability, skills you need to grow. So joining our community will arm you with information and also available and possibility of getting trained free of charge in some certain tech skills and get all the information and counseling and all the supports you need to thrive in tech. So today, like you already know, we're having a webinar a webinar, skill training webinar with Chukwu Adaeze Victoria, who is our guest for today. Yes. So all this introduction I did was in silence. Forgive me, because I didn't know I was muted when the network removed me and returned. So now I know that those that are joining us on YouTube and those that will come to watch the replay are going to see this. And in case you want to know more about ShEmerge International, please visit our website, shemergetribe.com. One word, shemergetribe.com. Scroll all the way down to where you can see join our community. All you need to do is to fill the form and you find yourself at the doorstep. We're always eager to welcome you, okay? Thank you very much for joining us and also watching the replay. So I'm giving the table, the cane, the blackboard, and the microphone to our guest today, Chukwu Adaeze Victoria. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome once again to another class with Her Royal Highness. Okay, so
Please, is it possible to see your face today?
Hey,
Yeah.
So of course, told me I would have put on my Christmas clothes. I'm not in a good place to show my video just now.
This is a tech community, so we don't wear Christmas clothes. We wear t-shirts and all those.
Even t-shirt, I'm not even wearing self. That's the funny part. So
on YouTube anyway.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah.
So the last time we had a conversation like this, we were talking about copywriting, but today we are going to be diving into the world of design process. The insights that I have about this group is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a professional level type of process, right? So I'm going to try to break it down in such a way that if you are a business owner, you are able to work on design process, and if you are a career person, let's say you're looking for a job in tech or you already have a job in tech, you are able to make use of this process in your design work. And then lastly, if you are running design as a business, you are able to use this process for your work with your clients so that you can produce the best result. Disclaimer, I'm a brand designer, right? So this process is mostly tailored towards my experience in the brand design field. So for product designers and UI UX peoples and developers and so on and so forth, I'm not quite sure what the exact design process for yours looks like, right? But I strongly believe in you checking this one out first as a foundational point. So when you look at it and be like, okay, this particular part of the process does not align with what I do, you can take that part out and put in the one that aligns with your job or with what you do. Capish? Capish. Okay. So what exactly is design process actually? I usually call design process is not the same as customer journey, FYI, right? So design process is basically just like the word imply, the process you go through to come up with something interesting, right? So the process you go through from brief collection to I call it customer satisfaction. But for some people, the end of their own process is project delivery. When you have delivered the final results of that project, the your process has probably ended. So that's basically what the design process is. So the first part of the process for me is collecting the brief, right? One thing I have discovered because of the reduction in attention span the last couple of years, and let me say over the last decade, it has become it has become a little bit harder for you to actually get somebody to fill a form, a questionnaire form. It's only in some parts of the world or in some different situations is where you find a business owner that is willing to sit down and fill a form for you, right? But then if you want to fill a form, it's very easy for you to incorporate AI into your process by actually, if you want them to fill a form, I mean, by going on, let's say, Chat GPT and typing in there that you are creating a brand, let's say a logo or brand. Apologies, that's been a long day. You're creating a visual identity for a particular company. You can then include the thing that you're creating, like the vision, I mean, of the company. Let's say Coca-Cola, and then you add the vision of Coca-Cola and say this is what these people are into. This is the product. This is their target audience, and this is their goals or core values or something like that. Create or generate a design brief that I can share with my clients to collect enough information to create a logo for them. So it will create questionnaire, make a list of questions for your questionnaire, and then you can now use that whatever questions it generates for you to create a Google form. So that's one of the ways that you can do it. Another way that you can do it, collecting brief, and I find this to be easier, and I will explain why. Another way that is easier, oh sorry, let me say another method of brief collection is by having what I call a discovery meeting. So a discovery meeting for me is basically where you invite your clients to have a conversation with you about what they want, what their expectations are, what the necessary deliverables are, and then where you basically ask them questions that help you understand how to go about that project. So one of the reasons why I said uh one of the reasons why I said having a discovery meeting is easier for me is because when if you agree with me that if I ask you a question about why you like the color red and I ask you to type it, let's say I ask you that question on WhatsApp, that why do you like the color red? You give me an answer that is like favorable, it's nice, it's fine and all of that. But then if I now get you on a phone call or on a video call and I ask you, oh, tell me why you like the color red, you are able to go into more details, right? You are able to explain your point deeper. You are even able to show me examples and say, wait, let me just quickly go into that other room and bring out a flower that they bought for me, or let me show you this pot that I bought that has the color red that was very interesting to me. So you are able to buttress your point a little bit better when you are speaking. You are even more animated. I am able to hear the emotion behind your voice in certain places. I'm able to hear the modulation. That means how your voice goes up or goes down in certain places for me to know that, okay, this person is really passionate. Example is maybe you're talking about how you started your business and it was inspired by your children. There's a way you speak about your children that there's excitement in your voice. And I'm able to say, oh, okay, it looks like this particular part of your life was, is very emotional for you. And it would be great for me to find a way to incorporate something that represents your children in the brand identity. Sure, you understand? So that is one of those two ways that you can collect a brief. You can either send out a questionnaire or you can do a discovery meeting. So that's step one. Step two is research. Now that you have, just give me a second. Okay, so now that you collected um, necessary information, right? You've either had a discovery meeting or they filled a form, right? That gives you that gives you or that gave you information about the brand or the product or the person, right? The next thing is to go and search similar products, similar adverts, similar field of businesses, similar style of design, etc. So for you, let's say you're creating a flyer for the client. Maybe let's say you're creating a flyer for the client and they're giving you all the necessary information. Oh, it's for this product, it's for this business, this is what we are trying to say, this is the messaging, this is the copy, etc and etc. The next thing during the research phase, this is probably where you go and check, okay, let's say it is a drink, right? We used Coca-Cola before, right? And then you go on a place like Pinterest. That's one of the places, that's in fact that's the biggest source of inspiration for me. You go to a place like Pinterest to search for similar products. Like, how did other people that are selling drinks, how did they create the flyer for their drinks? All right. And let's say it is a healthy drink that is targeted towards people that are into fitness. Then you can search for flyers that are around fitness generally, not just the products now. Search for ideas around fitness as a concept, right? Now, all of these things that you're gathering, you are putting them in sections. So for instance, you can set them and say grunge fitness flyer, as fitness drink flyer, minimalist fitness. That's all these things I'm mentioning now is design styles. Minimalist fitness drink flyers, mixed media drink flyers. What other one? Maximalism or neobrutalism fitness drink flyers. So now that you have sectioned them like that, the next thing is for you to gather all of those things and put it in a mood board. Now, this is what works for me. Okay. This is what has really, really worked for me. And I'll explain the reason why as I go along. So you put it together in a mood board. I usually use a Canva template. I want to see whether I can show you. Whether I can share my screen. Show you an example of what I mean. Should I even show you guys? Hold on, it's still loading. The network is really bad today. After I don't understand. I open the document. It's just taking a long time to load. So,
Yes, I've experienced that thing since morning. Yeah, the network has been
yeah,
slow.
yeah, it has been very, very slow. It's because of the weather has changed, right? So we're
Yeah.
entering into the rainy season, so it's kind of disrupting things.
Yeah.
All right, let me share my screen. Please, can you see my screen yet?
Yes, very well.
All right, awesome. So this is what I did for a brand I was working for that wanted me to create flyers for them. So I grouped them into three design styles. So the first is mixed media, the second is typography design, right, where I use more of fonts typography than than other design elements. Then lastly we have illustration, right? This is more cartoonish, right? So I presented these three to the clients, and the clients chose mixed media. Now, what does mood boarding as a design process do for you? What mood boarding does is that it helps you to understand the client's taste in design. So if you do all of this and they're like, this thing is too complex, I want something simpler, at least you know what the next thing to do is. Another example I can give you is one I created, is a mood board I created for FCMB, for their Christmas flyer and banner and the motion for
Okay,
last
your
year.
voice is okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me properly now? Can you hear me now? Please confirm that you can hear me, so that I don't just talk into the void. Okay, you can hear me. All right. So I think my Francis might be your from your end. Okay. So this is another example of what I created for FCMB at the time. That was December last year for Christmas. Right. So I shared with them, I shared with the consultant I was working with, line art design, right? Ad- Advent calendar, right? And I explained what I wanted to do. Illustration, Christmas work. This one is not design style. This one is more ideas, just concepts, right? Geo pattern and photo manipulation. So I shared these two with them, and then they were able to say, okay, do this one, do the other one, do the other one, and then we came to an agreement on what the design should look like, right? So putting a mood board together, it kind of helps you and your clients to agree, even you within yourself. If you are creating a design for yourself, it is good that you don't need to put it in presentation like this, right? You can use Pinterest. I have a lot of boards here. I even have one for my own self. This is my own board. Where is it? That's not Chukwu Adaeze. This is my lifestyle board. Where is CAB Digital? See it here. So this is my board for my own personal um projects, right? My own personal designs. So if I see something that aligns with what I want to design, I just add it there. But then for clients, I need to put it in a proper presentation. So I put it in a Canva template that I can easily edit and share with them. So what that does for me when it comes to like the client side is that it helps us agree early. So that it's not that I will not go and design now. And when I come back, they will not be like, no, I don't like this design. Or I'll now go and come back again. I don't like this design. Okay, what do you like? What do you like in this life? Shey you get? So that back and forth is reduced when you guys have already agreed from the get-go on the style of design, on the style of font. If you are doing brand identity, you create a mood board that shows logo styles, because logos have style, that shows font types, different types of typefaces, right? That shows different color palettes, and that shows different design styles, so that the clients can pick, oh, okay, this for the logo aspect, I like number one. For the color palette, I like number three. And then for the fonts, I like this other font that is here. And then for the design style, I like number six. So you know from the beginning what you're doing, right? And what that does for you going forward is that once you've now understood the taste of the client, any other projects that they bring to you, you already know the kind of style You can still be creative with it, but at least you already know the kind of style that they usually go for. Okay, so now that you have done style, sorry, I need to stop sharing my screen because I have like small sensitive information on my screen I want to just get rid of. Then I'll put it back on because I want to sketch now. Okay, I'm going back to sharing again. All right. Okay, so now that you have agreed that okay, oh, this style is what they are looking for, right? Let's say this is the type of style that they're looking for. Now it's now time for you to gather. You've already gathered the information, right? What does that mean? It means that you have. Please confirm you can see my screen. I just want to ask. Confirm you can see my screen. I can't
Yes,
see
I can see your
YouTube
screen.
people, so okay. All right, awesome. So now you have the logo, right? You have the headline. Now, let me represent headline with. You have the headline. You have the body copy, right? You have the CTA, maybe buy now or whatever. You have the product. I don't know what the heck this is, but manage it like that. I'm not the best drawer in this world. I mean, an artist that they call them. Let's manage something like that. Let me put small cap, no vex. All right, so you have the product, right? You have every other information that you need, color palette and etc. So now it's time for you to begin to sketch ideas, because apart from having like a style in your mood board, apart from having a style, you sure cannot copy the exact style that you see there. Sure, you get, you already have you've decided on a style, but you can't do it exactly like them. You have to be creative in the way you represent your own ideas. So you have all this information. It's now time for you to begin to put them in different um layouts, right? So let's say for this one, you want to put the drink on a podium, then you want to put the headline here, then you want to put the logo here, then you want to put contact information here, and body copy like bullet points. Let's say want to put bullet points in this place, then you want to put like maybe grass around the leg of the podium, then the sun will now be shining at the back to illuminate the product. Let's say that's what you want to do. That's one, right? Secondly, let's say you want to put the product bam bam in the middle like this, right? And then you want the headline to go over this place. Then you want the let's say they call that in bullet point to go this way. Then you want to put the logo here. Then you want to put contact information and social media, right? And then maybe let's say another one, you want the products to come outside from the side like this, right? Then you want to put the headline at the base here. Then you want to put the body copy this way. Put the logo here. Put sun here to shine and whatever, right? And then put the contact information. Sorry, what is that? That thing that used to get like arrow. Sorry, that used to have like arrow at the base. So let's say this is what you want to do. You put the contact information on this place, right? And now you have three different layouts and sketches of what you want to do, right? So after you've done sketching, remember the first step in the process is collecting the brief, right? The second step is doing your research. The third step is mood boarding. After you mood board, the next step is sketching, right? Now, this sketching part is optional, but it just helps you to quickly put your ideas down on paper. Let's say you even go back and say, how can I, in this same style, how can I creatively show the product? In fact, let me just look for, let's say healthy product flyer. And let's assume that the client has chosen something like this. Oh, I like it. Okay, what do you like about it? Oh, I like that the woman is holding kini, and then the product are big and in the front, and blah 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 blah. Right? Let's say this is what they want. Okay, so this is one idea. So you can decide to put your own um um put the model here, right? Put the product around, like maybe like put a circle, and then put the product around her like this, right? Then put the headline, put the kinikon bullet point, contact info, then logo will be at the top here. This could be the way you want to go about your own design, right? That shows everything that they want to show. Or you put just searching for more ideas, look at other ones, right? This is another example. And then this looks like what we said we're going to do here. All right, so okay, so when you're done sketching, right? And like I said, sketching helps you to just put your ideas together in a place so that you don't forget basically what it is that was such a fantastic idea in your mind. Because here's the thing, you have to see it in your head first. That, oh, if I do it like this, what if I do it like that? I will can't do it like this, I will can't shift them like this. If I just move that thing, if I just put them for middle, what if I put them for the left hand side, right hand side? What if I put them for up? If I put them for round? If I do am triangle nko, rectangle nko? If I can't put them for shey you get, if I bend down small, all those kind of thoughts as you're walking, as you're looking for ideas are going to come to your mind. So you just quickly jot them down, or you quickly sketch. So for some people, writing down the idea is easier than sketching. Me, I prefer to sketch, right? So just a quick something like this. So after you've done this one, it's now time for you to now clear all these things away and now begin to actually bring in the actual products them, and the things that the product, the actual font, the actual logo and everything, and put it in the dimension or the size of the page that you're working on, right? And then when you put it together, you refine it, add any effect you want to add, texture, whatever it is you want to add to it. Do multiple copies. I mean, multiple like these ideas that you have sketched now. Just do them, bring them to life. Then you can look at them and say, this number 3 nice sweet pass. I think I like this number 2 better. I feel like this number 4 is actually addresses what the client was saying better. So you can now pick that one, mock it up, and share with the client, which is the next step. Like, you've created the digital execution. After sketch is digital execution, but I'm going to send you the list. Right. After sketch is digital. Hey, basically, Hey, it's not digital. I swear I know that thing. It's digital. I go school. So it's digital execution. So where you use Photoshop, Canva, Illustrator, Procreate, whatever it is that you use for design to create the thing you want to create, right? And then when you're done with it, you share with the client, you collect feedback, and then you implement, which is the last step, which is called feedback implementation. Right? This is where you listen to what they are saying, and this is a big problem sometimes for some designers because they think they know best, right? And sometimes you might, but at the same time, apart from knowing how to do your job, you also need to know how to manage people and their expectations. You need to know how to manage people and their emotions. So when they are saying, no, yeah, this is not creative at all, it is rubbish you did, I like, uncle, calm down, put your chest on the floor, right? That's not that feedback is not necessarily going to assist me. What I need you to do is tell me exactly what it is that you think is wrong, so that I can fix it and also keep it in mind for future purposes. Right. And then they can tell you, I don't like this font, it's too sharp. This image that you use, the girl is not fine. The product is not coming out well, it's not big. Then you can now begin to or maybe they don't even like the flyer at all. At least you have, if let's say they don't like this one. Let me know what to say. Let's say they don't like this one. At least you have 3 other options that you have already created down. You can use those other 3 to do try your luck. Tumbo tumbo, see am, oh yeah, which one you like? You say, I like this number 2, is sweet. Uh-huh. Shey you get? So let me run through the list again. Number one is waiting, collecting the brief, understanding it, digest it, shey you get? So you can do that through either sending them a questionnaire, or you can do a discovery meeting, like 20-30 minutes, you're done. Discovery meeting. You can even record itself or use Gemini. Gemini is an AI this thing now that allows you to take notes during your meeting using Gmail. Right. So when you're having a meeting, you can use Gemini to take notes so that once you are done, you can always go back and say, this man they lie. He said he doesn't want rainbow, but he's not say that he wants to see rainbow. Sure you get? So after collecting the brief, the next thing is for you to do your research into style, into types of fonts, into many all the elements that you're going to be using, and the process and the whatever it is that you're going to need for the project. Then the next step, which is number three, is for you to do a mood board and share with the client that, hey, after our meeting, oh, this is what I've put together for what you requested. What do you think? Which one do you think resonates with you? So once they've chosen it, the next thing is for you to sketch, and then after sketching is digital digital execution. Right, after digital execution, the next step is feedback implementation. So after digital execution, you shared with the client. The client has said, oh, move this, change that, apply this, remove this one, replace with this one, and then you now implement that feedback to the point of satisfaction, send the final project final files across, and go and buy cold juice and drink, because you say if you don't try, sure you get. So this goes without saying that if you're working with a client, you have already collected your upfront, and before you send final files, you have collected your balance. If not, don't go and say now see if I made them scam you, man, no day. So collect your upfront before you start any work, and then collect your balance before you send final files. Do you have any questions? uh If you have question, I go draw the thing where you ask me. So, but yarn me, tell me, gist me. Even if you swear, self, you can still swear last on our information. Francis, are you there? Does anybody have any question? I can't see YouTube also. I think I may have to open YouTube and just check the comments over there.
Yes, yes, I am. I lost you a bit.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Yes,
Yes, I
I'm
can
here.
hear
I
you.
okay. Yeah. What did you say last? Like, did you ask a question?
Yeah, I was asking if anybody has a question about the process that I have just shared. If there's any
Oh,
questions
okay.
around it.
Okay. Okay, yes. Okay, please go ahead and ask your questions. Drop it in the chat, okay? And excuse me, those that join us on YouTube, go ahead and drop in your questions there. Yes, thank you very much, Esther, for sharing a summary of what she has said. Then, okay, if you have any question, we're waiting. So, there's this thing about, do I say new designers, graphic designers, or those that are still coming up, maybe using Canva. Your client comes in, or whoever comes in and says, I need this design and I want it the earliest you can get it. I want it tomorrow. So what do you have to say about that? Because this whole design process shows that it's not something that you can just do just now. But what would you say to someone that still have that mindset? I need the money. Let me just take up this job. What advice would you give them while we wait for the questions coming?
Okay. So if a client has like urgent work that they need you to do, I'm going to assume that you are not less busy, that you don't have anything in your hand that you're, even if you don't have, you yourself, you're a brand, be working on yourself, be polishing your branding, creating a strategy, arranging your visual identity. You should be doing something. You should never at any point just chillax and be waiting for clients, cross your leg with toothpick in your hand, and be waiting for clients. You should actually be doing something about your own self and about your own brand while you wait for projects, right? So what I would say is, and what I usually do is, if I'm working on something, which I always am, even if it's my own brand, right, and then a client comes and says, oh, I need this thing urgently, I need it tomorrow, tomorrow. I'll let them know that I have a backlog of designs that I'm working on. Usually I can get this thing to you in 1 week, 5 working days, right? But if you want me to fast track it, that means I'll work overnight, even if it's not true, even if I can do it now and give you, right? Even if it's not true, right? Because I would need to skip some parts of my process to get it done. It can be done, but there's no guarantee of how strong the concept is going to be. Because when I take my time to research, I'm able to find like really interesting ideas or even come up with really interesting ideas of my own. So it's a matter of, do you want me? I will skip a couple of processes. I will spend the entire night working on this, and that means I will not sleep. Do you? And then that means every other project I'm working on has to be on pause till I finish your own. Are you willing to pay a fee that allows me bring your own to the forefront, to the top of the pile? So if they say yes, how much? 100K. Do you want to pay extra 100K, for me to bring your stuff to the top of the pile? And if they say yes, then I can collect the job and do it just like I have mentioned. But then if they say no, that means there is a line, there's a queue. Even if there's actually no queue, there's a queue, there's always a queue, even if you're at the back of my own brand, right? And then I'm able to supply this thing to you within so time. The best I can do is to shave off maybe a day or two and say, okay, I can get it to you in actually in 4 days. That's the best I can do. And if the client keeps insisting that no, we want it earlier, but he doesn't want to pay, he can use the left door because I'm using the right one. Can use the left door and go, back to, I don't know where they came from. But I'm the kind of person that I have a process that works for me. I have steps that I follow that helps me to produce results. I assume that you coming to ask me to work on something means that you have gone through my portfolio, or you've heard about me somewhere, or you've seen my work, or somebody has introduced you like, this girl, fire, right? So that means there is value to be gotten. And then I'm telling you that the way I usually get this value is to spend like this amount of time coming up with ideas. But then if you insist, I don't know what to do, man. You have to go. Bye. See you tomorrow. Or whenever you have like a project that is not, of course, I say it more diplomatically with all the plenty English, but yeah, I don't do, you must do my work by force. I don't do that, because we'll fight. That's the truth. We'll fight. So it's better for everybody to just go their separate ways and live happy and peaceful lives. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I've had a situation where I had a client that was going to, one thing with most creative is to understand your strengths. Now, ShEmerge is a community of women, especially mothers. So the big deal is that you're not just doing your business, you're also managing your family. So you know the right time you can work and the time you cannot work, the time that is available for you, and the time you get so distracted. So being a mother, you understand how children can interrupt you and how they can just put themselves in funny danger like that. Someone said something today. It's a funny video I saw by someone. He said that children can be terrorists. At that point, they are putting themselves in danger. You have to stop whatever you're doing. That thing is taken into your delivery time. So whenever you're giving your client time, you're also understanding to factor in these things before you say, I can do it. So it's not only about the money, but it's about delivering quality projects. Then
Yeah.
the other thing is your portfolio. If you have been building your portfolio over time and you're able to let your clients see your strengths, they will be patient. That's one thing. But if they don't understand you and they feel like this is someone they can push around, they will give you a job and expect you to deliver tomorrow. Even if they pay so much, maybe that one is actually their own level of commitment because of the urgency. That one is an issue from their side because they did not plan ahead of time. But you, as a designer, just like she has said, manage them properly. Then if the person is insisting, knowing the fact that you cannot deliver within that shortest time possible, please have an agreement. So I had this situation with a particular client. So he brings in his job. It was a terrible situation working with that individual at that period because is from the older generation, more like in the 70s, like his age is around that kind, 70 or so. So someone I respect actually. So he brings in this project and gives me this stress, like, I don't like this, changes, do this, add this one. One of my team members just brought in another thing, another person's name, and we're going back and forth until I asked myself a question. That was many years back. Are you really going to work like this or so? So I had to put my modus operandi like down and let him see. Even if he doesn't sign it, I gave it to him. See, this is how I work. Any extras, you have to pay extra for it. The moment I deliver the final product to you, anything you request anymore will be paid for because we finished our agreement. Then I remember a particular situation where I doubled my fee based on my strength as I was growing. The same person came in and I was like, this is my new fee. He was like, oh, that's much more than what I paid the last time. I was like, fine, this is my new fee. And somehow in my mind, the person's mind was so scare him away because working with him was kind of a little bit stressful for me. But he said, I will pay. I said, fine. But somehow in my mind, I was like, I'm not ready for this stress. But because I've stated my stand, I've made it clear. I've laid my cards on the table. This is how I can work with you. If you wish to work with me. He said, okay. We finished that project. He gave me third time. This time around, I was busy with another project and I knew I was going to be. I told him I can't. He said he will wait. I said, are you willing to wait for a whole month before I can touch your design? He said, yes, I will wait for a whole month. And I was like, why? Can't you just find someone else? He said, if Frances does not design my book cover, I'm not going to rest. And the previous one I did for him, he printed it and he was just sending pictures of him holding it. He was so proud of it. So the thing is that the relationship, your portfolio, what is your presence? What is your track record? What's your portfolio looking like? These things can make your whoever is coming to you to insist that you deliver because they know you will, and they will now manage their own time to fit you. So if you're meeting someone like okay, I'm trying to remember his name. This guy from The Future Is Here. What's his name again? Chris, yes. If you're going to meet Chris Doe for a project and he tells you, I won't be available till November 2025, what would you do? You know that he will either do it then or never. So it's either you choose someone else or you patiently wait. Since you came to meet him, that means you see value in him. That is why you as a designer should do your homework. That's even the first. Okay, so that's about my question anyway. So talking about some people are actually graduating from our holiday graphic design training. Today is their last day, and this is also part of their own pattern session. So some of them are not here. Someone is also ill, so some of them are not here. And reason being that obvious. Okay, anyway, I believe that they will come back and watch the replay. So part of the things I always encourage them is spend more time seeing things that are being done. So, and when I make that statement, I also remember that there's a whole lot of things on the internet, even on Behance, even on Pinterest. How do you know the one you can say, I'm going to learn from? More like you're getting your mood board put together, you're getting inspiration. You know, there are chances that you see a product, someone's design that is not even up to standard. The person did not keep to the principle just because it's shiny. Then you say, okay, I think this is good, I replicate. Instead of how can one prevent, because they are beginners, for someone that is beginning, how can one prevent that chances of falling into the pit of learning from the wrong designers? You know, so that is the question anyway. I also want to make an illustration of, there was a time this 3D logo thing started trending. There are people like, I will do 3D, they will just use mock-up. Yeah, it's not actually 3D anyway. Use mock-up to put those logos on top of a wall, that thing that was trending then. And people were like, if you don't do that for me, I will rest. So that's the only way I wanted to give you my logos. And some people pride themselves, their logo designers, using those mock-ups. So these are two questions. How do we prevent ourselves as a beginner not to fall into the trap of learning from the wrong trends or wrong designers, then how do we know the wrong trends? Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So I think one of the amazing things about the design field, especially in Nigeria, is the fact that we have community, right? As a you're starting in design as a beginner, there are so many things that you don't know or that you're not able to pick up on or even recognize. But when you are a part of a community and you say, "Oh, I saw this design is very nice," and then you post it within your community, or you create something and you share within your community, the people in that community are able to give you proper feedback to say, no, don't do it like this, oh, do it like this, don't do it like that. That's logo wall thing that you are mentioning. Somebody has brought it in CF Design Hub before, and the person came and was like, does anybody know where I can get this mock-up? Like 8 people piled on him at once. Was like, no, do am, no, try am, no, 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 we don't do this anymore. The world has gone past this one. If he did not share in the community and say, hey, I'm for this, or I need this, or I'm working on this, there's no way that other people will have been able to put him through on what to avoid and what not to avoid. Or what to look out for and what to basically avoid, right? So having a community of like minds, of people that are growing daily just the way you're growing, is very, very important, because their iron will sharpen your iron, and your own iron too will sharpen their iron. So that's on on one end. Another thing I want to say is that when it comes to customer relations, when they say customer is always right, it might not be correct, but the customer is king, meaning that last now wetin the king say go happen, and go happen, even if it doesn't happen with you, to happen with somebody else, right? So the truth is that when sometimes there are some requests that some clients have that kind of, but that kind of straddles the fence of okay design versus terrible design. That's the truth. So for the sake of referral and customer satisfaction, you may have to bend a little bit to do what is necessary so that they can that's just the truth. Because how many you want pursue? There's a client of mine that I work with, and I've been working with this client for a couple of years now. I think about 5 or 6 years, right? This person will ask me to make it bigger, or make it bigger, make it larger, try this color, try the other color. By the time the design come outside as a final, and she was like, oh my, and they're like, or I love it. Oh, it is fantastic. You, the designer, will be looking like, because taste is different. Your own taste in design, what you consider perfection, is different from what other people call perfection. So sometimes understanding what the client wants from the client perspective is better than you knowing what is best. Because you know that, okay, this thing, to meet industry standards. So you have two options. It's either you leave that project alone, let somebody else go and battle it, or you focus on satisfying the client, so that they can come back with money another time. So it just depends on where your priorities lie. But understanding what bad design is or good design is time. Time teaches you what that is, and community teaches you what that is. Time, when I say time, I mean you are actively working on designs, you are actively trying out new things, and that's why I said before that there's no point in your career where you should be like, I don't have anything to do. Because even if you don't have anything to do, you have your own personal brand to work on. So there's no way at any point in time in this life that you will not have something doing. If you don't have a client project to work on your personal brand. If you don't want to work on your personal brand, work on fictional projects that you can add to your portfolio, which is another way of working on your brand. So while you're working on it, you're sharing within your community, and your community is what's it called? Is it sensitizing you? I think sensitizing you on what is the right kind of style to use, on what the right kind of effect to use is, the type of font to use, the kind of design style to use, how you should handle some certain clients and some certain requests. So all of those things falls under you actively choosing to grow. you actively choosing to be an active member of your own development, an active participant, I mean, not member, an active participant in your own development. So when you create stuff, you share, you create, you share, you create, you share, and then over time, people are able to like guide you to what is, right. It gets to a point where you are by yourself, you'll be the one, you know, detecting it. Somebody will share design, you'll be like, I don't think this font is right. That's because over time you have learned and you have grown, and now you understand what is right and what is not. Okay. So I think that basically answers the question, but Francis, I think the network has kicked her out. Does anybody have any questions? With client relations, with design process, with collecting brief, conducting research, etc. I already showed you guys how to create a mood board. And one question that I usually get around sketching is, do I need to be an artist? Like, does it need to be perfect or whatever? You know, see the thing I drew that looks like where chicken scratch the leg on the floor. So it doesn't have to be perfect at all. It just has to be understandable by you, the person that is using it. So far, what you have created and what you have written down is um understood by you. I don't think there's any other opinion that should matter, because it's not like you're giving the sketch to the client. All right. All you're giving them is the actual digital execution of it and nothing more. So I think that's ability to sketch like Picasso is not necessary. All right. And then before Francis comes back on, let's quickly talk about feedback. I used to have this problem a couple of years ago where a client would say, this design is not right, do it like this, do it like that. And I would argue till blood wants to start coming out of my eyes, because in my mind that thing I've given you is the right thing for you to have. All right, I've done it the right way, I've tried different ways, and you are still saying no. That means you must be the problem. Only for a few months to pass, and then I would just be, I don't know, doing random stuff, and an idea would just pop into my head that, okay, this is exactly what they mean. It will just drop in my mind like, oh, this is what they meant. This is what they meant with the feedback they gave me. That's months after I have already dropped the client, though. So understanding one of the skill, apart from hard skills like, oh, how to use Photoshop, how to use Canva, how to use all these design softwares, how to do text effects, and all these many things, right? Apart from those, you also need to have soft skills, people management skills, copywriting skills, leadership skills, time management skills, listening, active listening skills, and so on and so forth. So when you have those skills, couple those soft skills coupled with your hard or core skills, you are able to provide complete care and satisfactory service for your clients. All right. So Francis, are you still there?
Yes, I am. I'm back. Okay. So thank you. Thank you. Yes, I was also, yeah, I made the network join. I joined on YouTube, so I was still listening in. So thanks for all that about the feedback too. So because I was going to ask about that, how do you handle feedback? Because definitely feedback will come. One, it might just come from the side that the client doesn't really know so much, but he
Mm,
wants to be like our neighbor. Like the children of Israel, like they want to be like their neighbors. Then another one would be that the client knows someone that did it differently for him
yeah.
before, or maybe he's testing skills.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a situation like that where a client came to me and he said, if I call the name, he's a very popular person and also in a product industry like food. So he said he wanted a design, and he told me that he's been working with someone else on that. And he felt he's not doing it well, that I should redesign. I was like, okay, no problem. I need to know how far you've gone with the previous designer and at what point did you guys break the relationship? Because as you're working with clients, you're paying attention to what he's not saying. Just like you said, the soft skill. So when I said, okay, give me the raw file, let me start from where he stops and modify for you. You said no, that the designer is not has not released it. So he gave me a picture of it and said I should redesign exactly the same thing. And I was like, I wasn't going to do that. Based on the fact that this is another person's sweat, this is another person's work. And you've not had this agreement with that person. You want to steal it and give it to someone else to move on from there. Close the agreement, close the deal with that guy. If you want to work with me, let's start with something else because I may not understand where his concept is coming from. No communication. Give me his contact. Let's talk. Or you start over with me on a fresh note. But if it's to modify from where it is. So you see, there are some clients that are very tricky. They did, he may have chosen someone else because a client will come to you. What if I were to be in that young man's shoe? He came to me and gave me a design. I'm working on it. I'm sweating all night. I'm doing everything. I'm putting in the work. And next thing, he takes it and goes to give someone to redesign and continue from there, like start over, do the whole thing I have done halfway. You understand? That's not fair. Clients will come in and give you a feedback or also act in certain ways that are not right. So it's left for you to do business like a proper business person. Yes. So pay attention to that and fix that. Do you want to say something about that situation?
I've never necessarily been there before, but I think I've been on the other end where a client is working with me. We get to a point and we're like, and they're like, I don't think you're getting it. No wahala, and then they leave. Um, it made me change some of my policies to include the fact that if you pay me upfront, you cannot get it back. Right? So it's either
Yeah.
we do half of the project and you collect like you've taken the value of what you've paid, or you finish the project with me and be happy or whatever. I don't know, but I've I've definitely been at the end of oh, she worked on this to an extent and then they gave it to somebody else. But the thing about that is, in my experience, when they transfer it to another person, the person messes it up. Person does a very terrible job of it, and now they have to scatter the entire thing and start from scratch. That's it. And I can give you examples. One that I did for one social media page like that, I was just doing the design. It got to a point where I had to leave. That one we didn't even quarrel, right? I had to leave. And then they gave it to another designer and I was like, oh, see all the ones that she has created before, create something like that. Person, I don't know, person was just doing jargons. So it got to a point where they just, wiped it and was like, well, let's just start, do something different. Right. So I absolutely agree that when it comes to design is not a hobby. I usually tell my mentees, design is not just a hobby. If you that It can be a hobby if you want, but if you want to make money off of it and make something from it, you don't treat it as a hobby, you treat it as an actual business where you have processes, you have standard operating procedures, you have documentation, you have policies that you follow, you have terms and conditions for how people work with you and how they treat you. You have process that I think I've mentioned process, just like we have said. You have design process, you have work process, right? You understand the customer journey, how they come to you. You understand like um, human psychology and how to appeal to different types of emotions, right? So, etc and etc. So, just like you said, beyond just knowing how to use the software, there needs to be um, the integrity that you have as a designer, but also understanding of the fact that this is not just a casual thing; it's business, right? It's strictly business. If your mom wants to do design, she will still sign contract. If your sister wants to do design, she will still sign contract, right? Because this is business. It's not share share. We are not here to play. It's business. So yeah.
You don't do shere shere. Okay. Thank you for that. So yes, then that comes to another question about deliverables. So, and the client comes in and says something like, give me the raw file. I saw that conversation now in CAV group. Give me the raw file. What should the person involved do? You understand? To give it, at what point should you or should you not give me the raw file after the client has closed the deal you've delivered and the person says, give me. And also, secondly, what kind of files do you give your client when you're done, when it comes to logo and when it comes to flyer, like banner designs, one-off projects? Thank you.
Okay. So I've been in a situation before where I've collected up front. I'm working with the clients. It gets to a point where they now ask me to give them this source file of the logo. And I was like, the source file was never part of our agreement. So I can't give you the source file. But the client was insisting, like, what do you want to use the source file and do? You want chop am? Give me my thing, like that kind of thing. So, and I was adamant that we never agreed that I was going to give you the source file. So there's no way I'm going to hand it over to you. We did that back and forth until they were like, you know what, we don't want to work with you anymore. And that's how we just went our separate ways. But after a while, like I said, that clear-headedness used to come to me after a couple of months. After a couple of months, and I asked myself, like, okay, for real though, what I want to use the file to do? It's just what like no, genuinely, what am I using the file to do? Nothing, right? So I was working with this other client, and the client was like, I am working on I was working I think what was I working on? I was working on a book cover for him. I was working on a book cover for his school in Enugu, and then I finished with the design and I shared the design with him and all of that. He approved, and it was like I should send the source file to him, the PSD file. I didn't even argue. You know what I did? I went into the document and I flattened all the effects and everything. I flattened it, right? Maybe it's just for you to see the raw file and collect. I flattened it. I don't know whether this is wickedness or not, but I flattened it. After flattening it, I so that it could still retain a bit of retain the quality. I converted it to a smart object. I converted each of the layers to a smart object. I flattened some of them. I flattened some of the text as well, because if you open that file on another system that doesn't have that font, it will change it. So that one was more of a technical um realization than being petty. I'm not even being petty at all. So I just flattened the stuff, converted some of them to smart objects, flattened the text and all of that, and then I sent it across to him. And he was able to print what he wanted to print and moved on with his life. So you get, I got my money, he got his source file, and everybody skipped happily into the sunset. Nobody quarreled with each other. Sure you get, because if he was here, it would just be gathering dust on my system. What am I using it to do? So that's what I have did this. So to answer your question more directly, from the beginning, just assume that you might send the raw file. So if you want to cost for it, let's say you used to collect 100K before, right? And now you want to just zero your mind that, oh, source file is going to be included in anything. You can make it 150 and begin to price your service or flyer design as 150. So you know that, okay, oh, even if they ask, oh, you can give them. If they not ask, oh well, but you know that, okay, the price is already there if you want to price for it, right? So me, I don't believe in, oh, you want to keep this or so that. If it's something that is there shouldn't be anything. The only reason why I probably would not share source file is someone that is with someone that is not the client. Because if it is me and the client, even if it's an NDA, the agreement is between me and them. So I don't have any issues sharing with them, and they can go and distribute it to the farthest point of the world. Concern me again. Just give me a moment, can go. That's the main key for me. So when you talk about files that you can share at the end of a project, for flyer design, it depends on if it is going to be a print project or not. which is part of the questions you should be asking in your discovery meeting. That is this for print, so that you know what kind of settings to use when you are creating your file from the beginning, right? So if it's a print file, you know that you are sending it in PDF for print. You're sending it in PDF, or if they use EPS, if they prefer EPS, right? If it's for digital, that means it's for social media, it's for email and all of that. You can send as normal JPEG, but over email instead of WhatsApp, so that the quality of the image doesn't diminish, right? So you can send over platforms like that. Now, I've worked with a couple of web designers that require SVG of some files. So that means like a website that we're currently working on where I am, they need me to prepare. I had done it in Photoshop. Now I have to go and start again in Illustrator. This is why you need all the information you can get at the beginning, so that you know what exactly it is that you're doing. So now I prepare the SVG file. I also prepare the PNG file for them. That's for flyer design, and the components within the flyer if necessary. Now for logo design, I usually like to create folders. So now there's the colored folder, there's the black and white folder, and everything that is in the colored folder is going to be in the black and white folder as well, in terms of file format. So if I say JPEG in the colored folder, is also going to be JPEG is also going to be in black and white folder. If I say PNG in colored folder, PNG is also going to be in black and white folder. The only difference between those two folders for the logo design is that one is in full color, the other one is in neutral colors, which is black and white, monochrome, right? So colored folder will probably have another folder within it that is JPEG. That's all. The logo, the logo mark itself, the logo type, that's the letters, the font itself, then the logo lockup of both the icon and the logo type. So everything is going to be, JPEG with the background in there. The second folder within the colored folder is also going to be PNG. Right, that one's going to be PNG. That one is where you have everything that is inside the JPEG folder. The only difference is that this time around it's going to have a transparent background. So saving as PNG. Now, in case they want to print something, they want to print on pen, print on letterhead, print on T-shirts, print on large scale banners and all of that. You have another folder again that is PDF. This is where you have all the things you have in JPEG inside there, but this time around is in PDF format, transparent background PDF format. Okay, so you can now go extra mile and do SVG. You can go extra mile and do source file, AI, right? You can go extra mile and do EPS in case they need any of those things, right? So everything in that colored folder is the same thing that's going to be in black and white. Only difference is this time around you have the one that is black and they have the one that is white. Everything the same thing, the same PDF black and white, JPEG black and white, PNG black and white, and each of them will have the logo mark, will have the logo type, and then we'll have the complete logo lockup. Okay, so I hope that answers the questions.
Yes, you answered quite a lot. Thank you very much. So someone asked the question, at what point do you ask clients for payment?
Okay, so I think it
Okay,
starts with a
so before you
conversation.
answer that, just want
Yeah.
okay, before you answer that, I just want to chip in based on what you said earlier, that the case of whether I should release the raw file or not is based on maturity. That's what I see it as. There's nothing you're going to do with it. Don't hold it. The only thing is you can protect your what do they call it? Your property, more like intellectual property, by saving some effects. Like CAV said, she flattens it. But you know that the fonts, when it comes to transferring files through fonts, like she mentioned, you have to make sure it's steady, that it doesn't change. That means you have to flatten it. And when you have to flatten, if you're using the basic tools, you know how to flatten. But if you don't, Send me a private chat. I'll tell you how to, based on the tools you're using, okay? So the question now is, at what point do you ask your client for payment? I'm going to leave that question for you.
Okay. So personally, I like to first of all understand what I'm doing first, so that I know that I am pricing correctly. So an example is, let's say you want me to design a flyer, let's say you want me to design like 10 flyers. All right. So the question is, are you providing me with images, or do I need to find images myself? So I will know what I'm costing. So if you say, oh, I'm going to provide you images, or no, you have to find images yourself. Okay, so I need to cost for images. What about the copy, the content? Am I creating copies myself, or are you going to create copies and give to me? So if they say, oh, we're going to create copies, that means you're not costing for copies. But then if you say, no, go ahead and create copies for us, you are going to cost for copies, right? So now resizing. I know that some people don't charge for resizing, but I recently resized 128 banners, like resized 9 banners into different sizes, and then the total of it was 128, and I had to do it in one day. So there's no way I'm doing that shit for free. Okay. So I asked again, am I resizing this thing? And that's another question again, to make sure that you have all the necessary information. Am I resizing this thing? Oh yes, I'm resizing. Oh, you are resizing it to what and what? Oh, you are resizing to 7 different sizes. We go do the calculation. 10 times 7. Oh, it's 70. Okay, so cost for resize. So once you have done the costing of everything, and you have asked all the necessary questions, and you have gotten the idea, or you've understood what all your deliverables are supposed to be, the next thing is for you to create an invoice. Okay. So you've already had that preliminary conversation. This payment conversation happens after the discovery meeting, because during the discovery meeting, that is where you gather information to understand what the client wants, and the extent to which sometimes they don't even know what and what you are supposed to deliver. But once they tell you, oh, I want logo, but I also want the logo to be moving, you know that, okay, oh, apart from the logo design, oh, you also need to animate the logo. So you know that in your invoice, animation of the logo is going to be included. Sure, you get. So when you are done with the discovery meeting, you can now send them an invoice. Work only starts on approval of invoice. So once they've approved the invoice, and let's say you want to collect like a 50 or 70% upfront, once they pay you the upfront, the thing about your account like is bagam, that is when you can now open Photoshop or your design software, right? So that is the point at which me personally, I make sure that I collect my payments, and it must be complete. There's no, I will send it to you tomorrow. Okay, when you send it tomorrow, I will start work tomorrow. So once the money comes, work continues. Work starts, I mean. So when you're done, let's say you're doing logo design now, you've done the logo, you've shared visuals with them, they've approved, you've done the this thing over, let's say over WhatsApp and all of that, and then they're like, okay, yeah, send us the raw files, the PNG and the JPEG and everything via email, and you're like, okay, no wahala, please, this is my balance. So once everybody, that means you've agreed on the logo design, you've agreed on the color palette, you've agreed on everything else. The only thing that is left is for you to send them the final files. Then you can now ask, hey, when can I get my payment? Or you can tell them, hey, the balance on the invoice. So once you receive Bagam, the balance on invoice, that is when you now send the files, the final files to them, right? Sometimes it may not work out like that. Sometimes you might have been working with a client for a while, and you trust them that, these people, they can't scam me. So for that one, me, I'm okay with you not sending an invoice. I mean, send an invoice, yes, for them to know how much, but maybe not collecting up front and whatever. So, because you know that, okay, these people, there's no way they will pay. Sure, you get. So yeah, that's basically it though.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Lizzie. So, yeah, it just seems as if they are unending questions, because when you're dealing with clients, a lot of things will come up, And there are so many things you need to know. Prepare yourself before you start sending money or bills, because you can shoot yourself on your foot if you are not asking the right questions. Then, yes, that brings up the question of collaboration. So, no, you mentioned the case of I want to design and the logo needs to move, and you're not an animator. But it's not the question the client is asking you. How do you get to get that happen, and also how to factor that into your bills? Yes.
Okay, so you can decide to work with someone, or you can decide to leave it out. If you don't know how to animate, you can leave it out and say, hey, I don't actually do animation, because nobody can beat you for not knowing one extra skill that you need, or that they want. Right? Oh, I don't know how to animate. Okay, so let's just cost for only logo design and other things. But then if you have someone that animates, you are maybe during the discovery meeting, they said, oh, they want animation, they want blah 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 and all of that. You can say, okay, no wahala, I have a team of people I work with and we can get it done. After the discovery meeting, guy, Alpha, you the animate logo, how much? 5 seconds, 500K. Okay, no wahala. So that means you add the 500K, or you can even do 550 or 600, so that extra 100K you can use it and put there for motion designer management, managing the relationship and going back and forth with him. So 600K, okay, this is the price. Okay, and then they pay you your upfront, you cut his own and give him, let him start work, right? And then you manage that relationship and make sure that you get the best that you can get. You can even collect portfolio from the motion guy to check that, okay, this person actually knows how to animate logo. Or after you've collected kini, you can do the mood board thing. After you've collected an upfront, you can do the mood board thing and say, hey, this is the different ways of logo animation. Which one do you think you like better? Oh, I like this one that is swing like this. Okay, so motion guy, this is exactly what he wants, so that will reduce any back and forth and any wahala with the clients. Sure, you get. So collaboration is important in cases like this. And knowing how to manage, like I've mentioned before, as a soft skill, knowing how to manage that relationship with both the client and the vendor that you're working with, because time around is not an employee, it's almost like a vendor to you. So knowing how to manage that relationship so that you both of you come out on top, with a very very satisfied client, that is important as well. It's an important skill to add to the skill that you already have. So I hope that answers your question, Francis.
Yes, it does. It answers the question very well. So finally, so that we don't keep you so long and everybody here, the last question I have is, you, based on your own personal experience now, you've won quite a lot of competitions, you've worked with so many clients, you've scaled from beginners to professionals, you train and you mentor. I remember when you were still doing Digital Ninja. Now, how far you've come between then and now. You've done a lot of things for yourself. I would like to know, during your journey, what was your motivation? Because I understand, especially for mothers, we can give ourselves excuses. And you're a mother too. It's not like your baby is 1 year old. So you have been in the business for quite a while now. And within that same period, you've gone into competitions, Niger graphic designers and other things you tested yourselves on. You've learned illustration. Aside from designing, you've dabbled into product design at a certain time till you decided not to continue. Then many other things you've done. I remember when you used to say something like, every month I learned something new. It was
Every
an
day.
inspiration to me. Every day. Okay.
Yeah.
No, there was a time you were taking a course. You
Okay.
did animation, illustration. Yeah, you were taking it as a course. These things were intentional. But for someone that is not paying attention, they will say, Ades, don't start again. But the real deal is that today it has summed up to who you have become and the skills that you wield now. That is actually, anywhere you go, you're respected for your skills. I want to know first your motivation and how you did it. The magic. Thank you.
Okay. So me, I mean, I am my own motivation, to be honest. I don't use First of all, like I said, I'm my own motivation, and the reason why I said so is because I there was a time when I used to look outward for something to push me in order for me to move, right? And over time, when I started to expose myself to more information, watching other people do amazing stuff, growing little by little, I began to realize that, see, the best place you can get inspiration, that you know that that inspiration will never die, it will never dry up, is from within yourself. And reminding myself that I cannot disappoint Adeze. I cannot let her down, right? Uh, and just using that as a driving force. Another thing that kind of kept me pushing is actually my son. Because I'm like, this boy cannot grow up in poverty. He cannot grow up the way I grew up. That we'll be eating bread and tea every single morning because that was the only thing that money could buy at the time. Bread and Lipton tea, right? I cannot allow him grow up like that. Never. So now I have to push myself using that as a motivation as well, that okay, I need to climb to a higher point, right? But majorly, I am my own motivation, I am my own inspiration. I keep telling myself that I by this time next year, I never want to be in the same spot where I am, where, like, even if they are saying, oh, you are a fantastic, you are a cocastic, you are a wanting designer, next year I don't want to hear that they are still telling me I'm cocastic. They should have invented new words that they can use to describe the awesomeness of whatever it is I'm creating. They should have founded new adjectives, put it in the dictionary and say, now because of this and then we invent this word. There should be new stuff, not, oh, the same old, and whatever. So that's basically what my push and my driving force is. How did I do it? Um, like I said, one of the what do they call that in our mantras that I live by is that I must learn something new every day. And that's the truth. I must learn something new every day. That one that you're mentioning was 3 months. I really like to learn one new skill every 3 months, right? So, but learning something new is a daily thing for me. So today now, I don't learn new thing. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about design alone. It could be about business. It could be about people management. It could be about relationships. It could even be me learning new things about myself. But something new must be learned every single day, and it is traceable. So every single day I'm growing. Every single day I'm moving higher and farther away from the person I was yesterday. And that's the person I'm competing with and nobody else. I'm competing with the girl I was yesterday, with the woman I was yesterday. So she must not meet me in the same space where she left me. Okay. So that's taking it. And I think another thing is that I know that has been a big obstacle for most people, and I have given this as a solution for my mentees, is building a system around learning. I have a mentee that is a mom. She's in Canada. She has 2 children. She's married. There's the expectation of being a wife, all this cooking and cleaning. I don't know if people survive, but damn, right? So there's the expectation of motherhood and wifelyhood. I don't know what that is the word, or of wifeness on her, right? And she was like, CB, how do I manage? How do I cope? I have this dream. I have this goal. I have this kinikon. And I told her that, look, one day those children are going to get married and leave the house. It's going to be left with only you. Anything can happen to your husband tomorrow. I need you to get to a point where you understand that you came to this world alone, you will die alone, right? Now, if going by that logic, you want to grow, you probably have to grow alone. People are definitely going to help you, but I don't want you to put your hopes and prayer in another human being. I want you to be able to see yourself as a stronghold, like someone that is strong enough to stand gidigba, that even other people will come and it's like a big iroko tree that other people can come and take shade under. That's the way I want you to begin to see yourself, that I'm strong and I can do this. Right? That's one, that's the mindset. Then the second one is building a system around your learning. So for instance, now you can look at your day and be like, the only time I really, really have time is super early in the morning when I wake up to take my kids to school. So for instance, let's say you wake up there by 5 a.m. to take them to school, and you know that your brain is usually very fresh in the morning. Why not wake up by 4 instead? Then between that 4 and 5, learn something. Take them to school, come back and do your chores if you're a housewife or something. come back from dropping them off at school, do the chores you need to do, cook what you need to cook, and then practice the thing that you learned. Or let's say you only have like 1 hour in the morning and like 30 minutes at night. So plan is that okay, that 1 hour in the morning, when my brain is fresh, I'm going to learn something. Then that 30 minutes at night, I'm going to use to practice. That my mentee, I told her, say, warn everybody in your house every Tuesday and Thursday, or maybe 3 times a week. Warn them that, see, this 3 times a week, or from 7 to 9, nobody should expect me to come and do anything, because I'm a human being and I have my own goals and dreams as well. From 7 to 9, I'm going to lock myself in that room. I don't want to hear him. And then I want to practice. I want to grow. I want to develop myself. And then look, if you see where she is now, she's doing amazingly well for herself. She's doing fantastically well for herself, right? She has built her brand.
Great.
She got a job and all of that. She's doing well. So having a system around how you learn is also helpful. Having a system that includes what your daily life looks like is also very, very helpful. So you know that okay, if it's at midnight, that is where your brain is fresh. You know that okay, by 11 to 12 or 11 to 1, I'm going to be doing this. Then I'm going to sleep by 1 o'clock, and then I'm going to get up by 5 to prepare my children and do what I need to do. Maybe take a nap in the afternoon to make up for the time I lost in the night and all of that. So building a system around it helps a lot. But never stop learning and never stop growing. Join communities that help you to recognize where you need to grow, that challenges you, that pushes you to become a better person. Communities that have high level conversations, that addresses your pain points, and then opens your eyes to possibilities. I'm part of a community like that. Me, that I think I've gotten to the highest of the highest. Anytime I open that WhatsApp group, I'm like, hey Jesus, another thing again. Oh, so I just look at, I open the website that they share, or the article, or the whatever, and I check it out, and I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. And then I learn that thing and I digest it, and she gets so, I don't know, it just dey sweet me sometimes, sha, but yeah, that's basically it.
Yes, the long and short of it is be in an environment that challenges you. If you're in environments that you're the best, trust me, you'll be in a plateau for too long. And honestly, that is just the secret. I don't want to add anything to what she said. That is just it, on period. So pick what applies to you. No excuses. No excuses. These children will grow up and they will either be proud of you or say something like, I don't want to be like mommy. It's your choice. It's your choice. So thank you very much. I don't want to drop any more questions. It's already running late into the night. But if you have any question, feel free to drop it here. We can respond to you in the group. If you haven't joined the community, please go to shemergetribe.com. I'll drop the link in here. And scroll all the way down to join our community, and you'll find yourself at the door post so we can let you in. So thank you very much. I'm also excited for those that are graduating from our mini graphic designer training for the holidays, the holiday graphic design training for mothers. So you've learned quite a lot. You have a long way to go. Trust me, whatever you've learned in any boot camp or any training is just the beginning of your journey. There's a whole lot of decision making. There's a whole lot of learning to do. And you cannot get it in one place. My people say you don't stand in one place to watch masquerade. Move around. You will get a lot of things. Thank you very much, Adaeze Victoria. I don't know which one to call you first, but CAV is a lot more comfortable for me because
Yeah, that works. That works.
That works.
That works.
Yes. So thank you so much for your time. It's as though we shouldn't let you go, but this is a very good way to close this program and also round off our program, because this was meant to be our private conversation with those that did the training, but we decided to let it open so that other people will understand that there is no secret to learning. There are information everywhere for you. All you need to do is to sit down and focus. She mentioned something about system. If you don't have a system, you don't rise to your goal, you fall to your system. If you're a procrastinator, you will fall down to it. All this New Year resolution, fasting and praying, beginning of the year kind of thing, there's always this energy in the beginning of the year, there's this energy, positively and negatively. Some people start experiencing anxiety. Yes, this is a new year. I don't know what to do. There are so many things. People are moving forward. They lie you move on your own pace. Secondly, there are those that are very excited. I'm going to achieve so many. They will fall back to the system they've created so far. So consciously sit down today and write down something for yourself. Then yesterday, I saw a post about someone that says, what can you do to earn ₦1 million every month? Yes, that was this Money Africa. Yeah, it's Money Africa. So she made that post on Twitter. A lot of people responded and she shared it. It's more like encouraging people. Just know that your skill, your desire, your goals are valid, and don't treat it like every other person, every other thing. Your goal is very important. It's key to who you definitely become. So whatever skill you're doing, trust me, if it is to turn cement, you can get to a point where you will make so much money if only you can focus like laser light. CFV has spent years. I've known her at least a minimum of 5 to 6 years, if not 7 years. But one thing is, she has not stopped learning. Like, she challenges me. I remember asking you that question one time, how you take the manage? How do you manage? How do you get to do all these things? I remember. And you told me, I don't want to share here, but the thing is that everybody has what works for them. Then that aside for graphic design, product designers, you can see that there's barely a difference between graphic design and product design. Trust me, there's barely a difference. The only thing is that you're now working with a team. The developers, you produce and give to them, they start developing. Then you have to manage them and also have soft skill to be able to work with these individuals. That aside, but the thing is that the process is still the same. You conduct your research, you have a mood board, you have to plan or do your research, everything, put them together, produce, deliver, communicate what your deliverables are in such a way that you buy your team, your stakeholders, that they get to pay for the thing or adopt your design, okay? So fast forward into the rest, the future is learn. You never get it enough. Trends are changing. Open Canva today, tomorrow is different. Open Figma today, tomorrow is different. Photoshop 2022 is not the same as Photoshop 2024, and neither is all the rest of Adobe Suite and the rest of the tools you will find online. AI is also getting involved, and people's expectations are growing. People are seeing better design. So if you don't learn, you'll be left behind. So that is it about my TED Talk tonight. I want to say a very good thank you to everybody that has joined us and those that will be watching the replay. Please take the lessons you've learned. There's a future. Thankfully, we started early in the year 2025, January 2025. So what will you look like in October 2025? Plan it right now and work towards it. So thank you so much once again. And I wish you guys a wonderful night rest. Thank you. Yeah, CB, do you want to say something? A final word. What to ask?
That's the word. Come and teach me work, Francis.
I should come and teach you work.
Come and teach me work. Come and teach me product
No,
design.
I'm coming. You said you don't like it. You said you don't like it. You said you don't like
I
it.
just
Then
want
they
to have
said
that
do a
knowledge.
lot of
There's a reason why. See, there's a reason why I went for an interview for a lead role, and then they were asking me if I have product design knowledge. So I don't even need it to be professional level product design knowledge. I can rugged my way through, but I want to have at least beginner to intermediate level knowledge for me to be able to get by working with a team.